What's up, y'all? This is Bootleg Kev. And I'm on the fucking Nico Blitz Podcast, bruh. Like, he bought me a burrito, so I came. In more than one way.
Oh my God, is that Nico Blitz?
Nico Blitz Podcast, episode 10, everybody. Shout out to my next guest, the one and only Bootleg Kev.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. And Nico. We're in Nico's one-bedroom apartment. No, it's two bedrooms.
2 bedrooms.
I just saw where Nico has sex with his girlfriend, Jackie.
Facts.
One half of the Mexipino podcast.
Yes.
But at home, it's the Cockcast.
The Cockcast.
Yes. And I'm here.
Yeah.
And I brought food. I only told you I would only do the interview if I could eat my burrito.
And that is absolutely fine. Because Kev ends up buying us burritos every other Monday for his show. What?
I thought that they forgot the salsa. They didn't.
Oh my God. Those burritos are fire though. What's the place called?
It's some red truck on Magnolia in North Hollywood. I don't know what the fuck they're called.
It's fire though. They end up putting like hash browns and a whole bunch of shit in it. Ain't that right, Kev?
I mean, they put breakfast burrito shit in it.
Yeah, but normally you don't have hash browns in a burrito.
I don't know. Anyway.
Oh, anyways. So what's up, man?
Episode number 10, Nico.
Episode number 10.
Hey, you know, you've been having a whole bunch of chicks on here.
Yeah.
Is that on purpose?
It's definitely not on purpose. I even told you the other day, I definitely need a dude on here.
How many out of your 10 have been females?
I want to say 7 or 8.
Look at you. You're a real fucking good man, man.
Yeah, man.
There's no discrimination here. There's no sexism here.
Not one bit.
Not
You're probably the first white boy on the podcast.
Wow. Look at you diversifying.
Yeah. You know, Kev always gave me props for interviewing nothing but Asian artists.
Mm-hmm. That's real good.
Yeah.
You do have a lot of Asian artists too.
I do. You remember when I got the 88 Rising on Real 92.3?
Yeah, you had Rich Brian and Joji and... Now, did you make that happen, or was that
I made that
Michael Lieberman that made that happen?
Well, I hit up Lieberman, and then we fixed it. Then we made it happen.
Well, who connected you with Lieberman?
You did.
So who made it happen?
I mean, I don't know, man. I sent the email.
You did your job. You were a producer, and you produced that interview.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, I've been producing Kev's radio show since, 2016, 2017, something like that.
I believe it was, I think it was 2017.
2017, and Kev totally thought I was gay.
Yeah, actually, when the idea of having you produce the show came up, me and DJ Damage at the time thought you were the ops for sure.
You thought I was the ops. Why?
Because Damage had this idea that you were like Doc Winter's Trojan horse, and that he was sending you in to like report back to him what kind of fuckery was going on with the night show.
Okay.
So I had kind of sold myself on that idea originally too, and I was trying to get some guy named D-Rail to produce the show, who also was at iHeart. You ended up producing the show, and I think right away I was like, oh no, Nico's cool. And he laughs at my gay jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy with those jokes. So immediately you were like already fine with it.
Yeah, and then I thought you were gay. I just assumed you were gay because your hair, it was a lot worse than it is now. And I didn't really know you. I just saw you on the street team. And I was like, oh, yeah. You mean, when they said Nico Blitz, I was like, is that the gay guy on the street team? And they were like, I don't think he's gay. And I was like, oh, are you sure? But of course, you're a hetero. So shout out to you and shout out to the homosexuals as well. Yeah. We got love for everyone at the Nico Blitz and Bootleg Kev Podcast. If you're gay, if you're straight, if you're trans, if you're other, if you're etc., we fuck with you.
Yeah, facts. You know, when I first met you, I actually thought you were an asshole. Because I think when I first officially met you, you were coming to Disneyland for something. And then
was it for the holiday party?
Yeah, it was for the holiday party, and you were grilling me specifically for tickets. I'm like, bro, I can't do shit for you.
I probably was an asshole. And let's be honest, in general, I am an asshole. If you don't know me, I'm very
straightforward.
I'm straightforward, but I also just don't like a lot of people.
Yeah.
Once you're in, but for the most part, I could see why you thought that.
Yeah. But I feel like...
I also was probably a dick that day.
You're probably just
I was trying to
mad.
get into Disneyland. I brought my girl. It was fucking cold. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here? I fucking work here. It's supposed to be our holiday party. What the fuck, Nico? This fucking hair you got here. You should be able to make something happen.
But you know, I do appreciate the straightforwardness because I feel like ever since I met you and we've been working together, a lot of shit has just been like completed and done, and shit gets done faster. Like because to be honest, like before I started working at iHeart and whatnot, everything was kind of just like, oh, you know, kind of just like lazy going. Like my life was kind of just like go with the flow. But then I feel like you and DJ Head definitely gave me a lot of direction working with you guys.
We definitely gave you some direction. Me and Head were serving directions and erections. 10 for $1.
I don't know what that means.
I just want to point out to everyone, I'm not as fat as you think I am. I'm starting personal training tomorrow because I am a fat fuck. And so today I have to indulge.
Yes.
So I have to eat this breakfast burrito today because I can't eat it tomorrow because I'm starting a diet and I'm starting training. So if you're watching this in the comments, you're a fat fuck's eating a burrito. Yeah, I know I'm a fat fuck. I'm working on it.
And for the record, too, this is probably Kev's
Shut the fuck up.
10th diet since I met him.
Anyway, as you were saying, yes, I feel like me and Head definitely tried to help you out. You know, you had like your platform, I think, when you started. The lunch table, which you just sat on fire. You were like, put the kerosene, I'm on Twitch. You said, I'm on Twitch, motherfucker. What is a lunch table?
And I wanted to rebrand.
Anyway, so then you just did the Bootleg Kev Podcast logo 2.0.
Facts. I was inspired.
No, but yeah, I think, you know, your platform was very, very small, but it was like, the thing I liked about what you were doing was it was very consistent. Like you were dropping shit you were interviewing everybody, and even if it was getting 50 views, you were like, nah, I'm gonna keep going, I'm gonna keep going, I'm gonna keep going. And I respect that because most people, when they start something, if it doesn't catch on right away, they get discouraged, they move forward, they leave it behind, whatever. Or if something else starts working better, like Twitch, they leave it behind, which is what you did. So shout out to the lunch table. Rest in peace. Yeah.
Well, the way I see it was that, like...
By the way, is this the room your roommate used to live in?
No, this is the room that I used to live in.
Oh, so this is... Oh,
yeah.
So you and your old roommate have technically fucked in the same room.
If you mean that room over there, then yes, technically. But nonetheless, I do see... Because the way I saw it, too, was that Twitch was definitely working for me, especially over the pandemic. And it was helping me with my funds. So I said to myself, okay, if I focus on this... And if I can make my funds out of it, and if I can grow my name, I can basically just drag people to the rest of my interviews. What?
I just got a text from somebody. Sorry.
Oh, my God.
No, yeah. But then you stopped doing interviews.
But now we're doing the interviews again as the Nico Blitz Podcast.
Indeed you are, you fuck you.
Yeah, man.
Well, we're here. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, you know, I think pretty right away, I realized, oh, Nico's a real one. And then Head came into the fold. And yeah, me and you would always have talks about a bunch of shit. I feel like you and I were on the same wavelength about a bunch of shit.
Yeah, I feel like we could say a lot more jokes in front of each other, and then, I mean,
yeah,
Head
for
would either
people who
accept
don't know,
it or not.
Nico fucking went to an all-boys school.
Yes, I
and
did.
fully comprehends and appreciates Caucasian humor.
Yeah.
Heavy on the cock.
The caucasity, as a lot of people would like to say. I feel like Head wasn't really rocking with it, though.
Well, I'm going to be honest. There's some white people say that. Your parents are Trumpers.
They're Republicans. But, you know, it is what it is.
Anyway.
So, Kev, so I think you started radio when you were, what, 16 years old?
Yeah. So I went to high school in Mesa at Westwood High. And instead of taking my elective courses, I went to a school called EVIT in the morning for 2 hours and took radio broadcasting. It was a technical high school that you could go to. So I would go there, do radio broadcasting class, and then get on a bus that would take me to my home school. So I did that every day. But they gave me a radio show that was on, the signal would only cover like a mile or two around the campus. So like we were technically on the radio, but you had to be driving around in Mesa to hear the shit, right? So I I did a show called Ready Set Radio, where it was me and my best friend David Brett Toman, who likes to blow men.
Clearly, I know all of Kev's catchphrases now.
So we did a show called Ready Set Radio, and we would just like play hella rap shit that we loved. You know, underground shit, commercial shit we liked. And we would do that show every day during our class. Maybe not every day. Maybe it was like once or twice a week. But in that class, we learned like Pro Tools and like just a bunch of shit that was cool to learn. And yeah, so I did that in high school. And
damn, so you were doing radio in high school already?
Yeah. I started my junior year. So I was doing junior and senior year at EVIT as my electives, and we would do this show called Ready Set Radio, and that shit was lit.
Well, I know radio was like, I mean, super prominent back then. Like, what made you want to get into it?
I'll be honest. I was very much like into hip hop. That was kind of like my whole life. Like, just it was basketball or rap music. So I had a best friend of mine named Gio who started interning at Power in Phoenix. And, you know, when I took the tour my sophomore year, they took us on like a field trip day to go to EVIT to check out the campus, right, from our home school for the next year if we wanted to sign up for the classes. So when I signed up for the or when I went to the field trip and I saw the radio broadcasting shit, I was like, oh, this shit is kind of dope. I could learn Pro Tools. I just knew I wanted to be involved in music somehow. And radio felt like something I could do because I like to talk shit and I was always like a class clown. So I signed up and I would say that class probably more than anything made me fall in love with radio. So I took that class and I just loved doing it. And that's kind of where I kind of formed the idea that that's really what I wanted to do, was pursue a career in radio.
It's kind of lit that you figured everything out so early, though, because I feel like a lot of people, I mean, you know, for myself, for example, I didn't figure this out until maybe like I was 23 years old.
Yeah. You know, I guess I figured it out for the most part. So I was doing that. I had a newborn baby when I graduated high school. So pretty much I was doing the EVIT shit at school, doing my radio shit, and then, putting together a resume, sending it out to radio stations to try to get on as an intern while I was in school my senior year. I got hired as an intern because a couple of my homies are already interning at the radio station. So I started interning in August of 2005. My son was born in October of 2005. So at that time, I'm hitting the swap meet every weekend, selling hella shit, fucking anything you can think of, mixtapes, bootleg CDs, DVDs, fucking t-shirts, shoes, jerseys, whatever. That was what I was doing on the weekends to pay the bills because I was working at the radio station for free. So I worked at the radio station for free for like a year and a half before I ever got a paycheck. About a year and a half. It was like, I don't know, give or take. And so I was doing the swap meet shit, but then I also, like, I had a baby, right? So I had to figure out what the fuck I was going to do. My uncle is a very, he's a rich dude in Arizona who owns a bunch of drug rehabs. And off of those drug rehabs, there's a bunch of little side businesses. So he opened a consignment car lot in Sunny Slope, which is like an area of town that a lot of my family's from, where I kind of grew up at. So when I was 18 with the baby, my uncle was like, yo, I want you to run this car lot. I'll give you a place to stay for free. You have to pay rent. So he gave me a one-bedroom apartment. And he gave me like a fucking shitty minivan to drive. And he gave me something like, I don't know, $200-300 a week.
Which I feel like at that time was pretty good still.
Maybe it was $200 a week. And if you think about it, I had my rent paid and I had a car. So it was...
Yeah, that's kind of a good situation at that time.
Right. So I'm 18 doing this. I'm running this car lot for my uncle, and the people who work for me are all drug addicts. They're all dope fiends that have relapsed and gone back into his drug program. So they're my employees. So I'm an 18-year-old kid overseeing this consignment car lot in the fucking hood with all these dope fiends that are in recovery. So I'm like managing shit. My office is an RV. My uncle just bought an RV. I swear to God.
Shit.
My uncle bought an RV, put it on this car lot. So I'll be sitting in the RV while I'm working. I'm also interning at the radio station. So mind you, I started that job right as soon as I graduated high school, my uncle gave me that job.
Holy shit, bro.
So I remember picking having my son, because my son was born in the hospital right by the car lot, and then like picking him up and then like driving to the car lot. So like I'm working at this car lot, interning at the radio station, going to MCC for like, I went to college for
That's
like
the college, yeah.
one semester, maybe a quarter, and doing the swap meet thing. So while I'm at this car lot, I'm using my uncle's computer to download music using his printer to print mixtape covers in this bro, in this RV.
That's fucking lit, bro.
You know what's crazy is I didn't think about it. I was like the original Walter White, except for it wasn't meth. I was like,
You're slanging mixtapes everywhere.
no, I was whipping up my product inside of this RV while I was collecting a check from my uncle. So I'd be in the RV like printing shit, getting my product together for the weekend, when I'd hit the swap meet, because I'd make like stupid money at the swap meet. So I did that for a while, and it got to the point where like the radio station, you know, at the time, I was just happy to be there. Like, it was like, damn, I get to go hang out in the building. I remember the first time I walked into the studio and like Joey Boy and Jay Filler were there, and they were like giving us a tour of the station, and I was like, oh my God, look at this.
Hella shook.
There's like hella cool ass like fucking rap stickers on the wall and like all kinds of plaques and shit I never seen in my life. Like, this is shit that like I don't bat an eye at now, but at the time, I'm 18 years old. I've never seen nothing. I don't know nothing about the rap game. I don't know. I mean, I know about, like, I'm a fan, but I don't know nothing about the music industry, the radio. I mean, I know what I know from Evit, but I don't know, like, I never been around the real shit.
Yeah.
So, shout out to Matlocks, though. When I was in high school, Matlocks let me go to Power and sit in on a Friday Night Flavor show, which was super big for my life. So, shout out to Matlocks. But yeah, so I'm interning, working at this fucking shitty ass car lot. Shout out to my Uncle Rocky, who's a real one. He's killed a man and went to jail for it and then got out. Sheesh. He's with all of the fuck. Bro, you know how about this?
Story time.
My Uncle Rocky smoked somebody. He smoked his best friend. He was on drugs, right? So he got convicted for it after he already became a millionaire like 25 years later. So he went in and got out pretty quick because he had lawyers and statute of limitations, shit like that. My mom's uncle, that motherfucker killed his ex-wife. God rest Uncle Billy's soul. He passed away. But my mom's uncle my mom's brother, Billy, he was fucked up on peyote. Was tripping balls, and that motherfucker murdered his ex-wife.
What the fuck, bro?
Went to prison for that.
My
Got
God.
out. My other cousin is in prison right now. That motherfucker took an ink pen and murdered somebody with a pen. He's in prison. My other cousin, who murdered many people, he died. He died in jail. He died in prison. Dude, I got a fucked up family. My family's fucked.
I mean, I met your family. Well,
No, you met my mom.
I met your mom and all that.
Yeah, they're cool.
They're cool.
Yeah. No, but like my fucking like family is bro. That's a fucking the shit I seen growing up. My Aunt Wendy used to pick me up from the fucking school when I was a little kid while she was tweaking, and she would take me with her. Like, I would hate it when my mom would have to work, and my tweaker ass Aunt Wendy, and by the way, I love my Aunt Wendy. She's my closest aunt to me. I love her. She would approve of me telling the story.
Okay.
She don't do drugs no more. I don't know. She sells them though. Anyway, so my Aunt Wendy would pick me up from school when my mom couldn't pick me up, and I fucking hate it because it'd be her and my Uncle Billy, different Billy. There's two Billys.
Okay.
I got two Uncle Billies. That's some white people shit. Two Uncle Billies.
Shouts out to Uncle Billy. Times two.
They'd pick me up from the fucking school. I'd be like 7, 8, 9 years old, and I'd have to fucking be with them for 3 or 4 hours out of the day while they were dumpster diving looking for fucking bike parts.
Oh my God, bro.
Crazy. Anyway, shout out to Aunt Wendy. I've seen some wild fucked up shit. I went to my first strip club when I was like 7. My Aunt Wendy was stripping at this fucking club on 44th Street and Thomas in Phoenix, right? I had to me and my mom went to go pick her ass up from work. She was dancing. I had to take a piss. I'm a little kid. I got to fucking pee. My aunt walks me into the strip club, bro. I'm a kid. I go to take a piss. I look in the mirror. I look up. Titties behind me, bro. First pair of titties I ever seen.
At 7 years old.
7. Shout out to the strip club. I think it was called the Squeeze Box. That strip club, anyone from Phoenix knows that club in 44th Street and Thomas has changed names a million times. Anyway, back to Evit and the interning. We divulged.
I'm still stuck on the strip club at 7.
It's good times.
Wait, well, before we get to Evit and all that, like, do you feel like all that shit gave you kind of like, it just like traumatized you?
Oh, no. No. I mean, listen, dude. You know, like in retrospect, like my parents, like some of their best friends are really fucked up people. Like my Aunt Renee and Uncle Scott, who aren't technically my aunts and uncles. They're just my dad's best friend and my mom's best friend from childhood. Jesus Christ. Do you know this person? That looks like a Nico Blitz
I have
name.
no clue who that is. It's at South City, though. Kev's getting a call for the people who are just listening on Spotify and whatnot.
Let's see what this is. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know who that is. Anyway, but like, dude, I've been around some shit, man. Like, I used to go over to my Uncle Scott and my Aunt Renee used to be hardcore dope fiends, like hardcore. Like, shooting up, selling shit. Like, the shit you see on TV that's, like, really fucked up. I seen some shit, bro. Like, I'm talking about, like, I'd be over at my aunt and my uncle's crib. They'd have fucking, that shit would be fucked up. Like, I've seen heroin needles. I've seen fucking, bro, we used to eat cereal when I'd stay at my cousin Matt's house, and the fucking spoon, every spoon would be burnt in the fucking drawer because they were fucking cooking up dope with the spoons. Crazy white trash ass shit. Straight up. Like, my uncle, every time he'd have to leave the house, he'd go steal the neighbor's license plate because he'd have to screw a plate onto his car.
God damn, bro.
He couldn't drive because if he got pulled over, he had no license. But if he got pulled over with no plates, he was going to prison. Shout out to Uncle Scott. I saw that motherfucker pick a bunch of fucking. He would be on meth. He'd come to my house when I was living in Sunny Slope. This motherfucker would be in the bathroom with tweezers picking his face because he thought bugs were crawling out of his fucking face.
Oh my God.
Bro, I've seen some fucked up shit. As a child, I've seen some fucked up shit. I never even thought of it like as a big deal. It just was like,
it was normalized.
I'm just glad I didn't get sucked into that shit.
Yeah, because, you know, for the times I have known you, like, you're not about like doing hardcore drugs or anything. Like, you just smoke weed, drink.
Yeah, and I didn't even drink until I turned like 20, 21.
That's actually kind of hard to believe.
I swear to God.
That's lit though.
Yeah, I didn't drink in high school. Yeah, I think that, like, if you see the shit I see as I saw as a kid, you're either going to go in that direction, or you're gonna like see it and realize where that gets you. You know, my cousin Sheldon, who I told you about, you know, when I was a kid, like, he got out of prison after being in for like 10 years. And this fool like lived with me. This is a fully tattooed human being, every inch of his body except for his face. He's got face tattoos. He's half Mexican, half white. Looks straight cholo. Mm-hmm. Fucking brown pride tattoos. He running the Mexican mafia when he was in prison. He gets out of prison. I'm around him, running around doing a bunch of shit. I saw a bunch of shit I should not have been just seeing because my parents were very gullible. Like, they were very naive. They were naive. But my parents kind of allowed me to do a lot of shit that in retrospect, I'm like, man, y'all really, y'all just kind of let me do my thing as a child. Like,
yeah,
you guys let me go hang out with Sheldon? This grown-ass man with fucking.
Damn, bro.
Like, what? Like, bro, I seen some crazy shit as a kid, for sure.
So then it sounds like you did realize like that wasn't the lifestyle that you wanted to live. And I also feel like with you, like, you know, hustling, selling your mixtapes and whatnot, and also having radio and also your job that your uncle put you on with, it also kind of, I guess in a sense, distracted you from getting into any of that shit.
I was never going to get into none of that shit. Also, my best friend Ramses, who I've known since I was 3, he was a big influence on my life. He probably is a big reason why I never gotten into that.
Why do you say that?
He's older than me. he definitely probably is one of the single reasons why I never went that way, because he was straight edge, didn't cuss, didn't drink, didn't do nothing. And he was like my best friend. So, and he was older than me. So he was like, I think he's 4 years older than me.
Okay.
So he had a lot to do with me not getting into some shit, I think, as well. But yeah, you know, the car lot thing, I ended up getting fired. My uncle fired me.
For what?
Because he found out I was making mixtapes at the fucking spot.
So then, okay, at that point, you get fired. What happens then?
Just a lot of shit, man. I'm trying to hang on to the internship at the radio station as long as I can, because I'm like, man, I got to make this shit work, but it's not making me any money. So I'm like buying and selling cars. Like I would find like a hoopty. I put like, say someone was selling a car for $1,200. I would meet up with the guy and I would be like, I got $600 cash. And that shit works.
And then you made your rent.
So I'd buy that car and I'd flip it for like $900, make $300, make $250, whatever. I'd never even transfer the title. I would just keep the title open, drive it around a little bit. I was at the swap meet, slanging, hustling, tough, moving into an apartment with my son and my baby mama at the time. I had a real tough time making rent, trying to keep the radio dream alive. Ended up having to leave that apartment because I couldn't afford to stay there. Moved back in with my parents when I was like 19 with my kid. And yeah, it just kept like, I just stopped going to college. It was like, I either had to do the college shit or the radio station. This is while radio's not paying me. I just decided.
You're still doing free shit.
Yeah, so it was, for me, it was like, I'm either going to stay in this internship. It was called the Flavor Unit, they would call it. Either I'm going to do the Flavor Unit or I'm going to go to college. It was like, which one is it?
So I guess it's safe to say you kind of found that, I guess through the internship, it would be even easier for you to get a job as opposed to going to college and.
Well, yeah, for me, it was a gamble because like I was going to college for some bullshit degree, marketing, business, something. But in my head, I was like, I didn't really know if radio didn't work out like what I wanted to do. Part of me was like, I'd like to be a history teacher or be like a businessman or whatever. But I definitely didn't have time to do the radio thing for free. And mind you, I'm like trying to do everything I can at the station. I'm trying to be there all fucking day for free. So I'm like, yo, put me on this, put me on this, put me on this. $0.
So then how long before you actually got the job?
It was about 1.5 years. And I didn't even get a real job. I mean, I got a street team job. And what's dope is, shout out my guy Danny Whispers, because Danny was like one of the OGs on the street team. So he was the guy, we would take the van out. He was the guy who would drive it. He was the guy getting paid. He was running the internship program. So he's the guy who kept bringing me back because you had to get brought back after every semester.
Ah.
So
okay.
I had to like show my ass just to stay on as an intern.
Did you also have to be in school to get that internship?
Man, I faked that shit.
Nah, there we go.
The first semester I did get credit because I was still in college. But after that, I just lied, or I would just turn in the paperwork till they forgot. But Danny kept bringing me back, and we used to hit licks. We'd be on the street team. There'd be events. Our program director, Bruce St. James, would be fucking throwing these concerts, making all kinds of buku fucking dollars, bringing... Bro, there was this fucking club in Phoenix called Arizona Beach Club. It used to go by Club Rio back in the day. And we used to throw concerts there like, bro, like, we had a show that was, Ray J was the headliner, Pretty Ricky was before him, and Chris Brown was the opener. Yeah. Chris Brown opened. That
sounds lit.
Child Chris Brown.
Yeah.
We had another show with like Chameleonaire and E40. We had a Joel Santana show. But what we would do is these shows would be crazy. There'd be the general admission line. And I'm snitching on Danny right now. He doesn't care because he's not in radio anymore. I'm snitching on myself too.
Snitching on yourself. That's okay.
There'd be the general admission line, and then there'd be the VI, like there'd be the line that anyone could pay to jump. So if you wanted to get in right away, you had to pay like $50 to jump to our line.
Yeah.
So Danny would always be like, at these events, he'd be like, yo, Kev, you're working the VIP line with me. And I'd be like,
oh, okay.
So he was like, this is how it's going to go. Every other person, he's like, you got your left back pocket, you got your right back pocket. Left is for Bruce, right is for you. Every other one, switch pockets.
Holy shit, bro.
So at the end of the day, I'm like making rent.
Just off of one event.
Yeah. So I'd have like 800 in one pocket, 800 in the other pocket. 800's going to me, 800's going to Bruce.
God damn, bro.
We was getting money.
Yeah.
Had to. That shit saved me. So we would do that. And then we would also we would hit the street team. We would have these flavor units where they give us like bricks of tickets we had to give away. Like, hey, we're on the corner like 59th and Thomas. Come pull up. Show us your bumper sticker and you get hooked up with tickets to the Arizona Rattlers. Bro, we would go do that fucking call in. We'd chill for 10 minutes, bounce. Go downtown Phoenix, find the scalpers, sell them the whole brick of tickets and split the bread.
God damn, bro.
Hell yeah.
You just figured out how to make money, basically.
Fuck yeah. Dude, if there was like CDs, right? Back when CDs mattered. And shout out to Dion McBean, who still works at Power. I'm about to snitch on you. These motherfuckers, we used to get all these CDs, right? Used to be able to go to the warehouse, FYE, and sell the CDs and get money. Good money. $4 or $5 a CD. Man, I'd sold so many fucking CDs to the warehouse. We wouldn't give none of them shits away. And I knew Dion was doing it too, because the warehouse across the street from his apartment was the one I would go to. And every fucking album in that bitch had a Power 92.3 sticker on it.
That's fucking crazy.
Shout out to Dion. But yeah, so I was on the street team just trying to like nickel and dime as much as I could just to stay afloat, to stay on the flavor unit. Then I got hired as a street teamer where I could actually drive the car. I was getting paid. Around that time, I was doing call-ins. Carly Hustle heard my voice, was like, you're dope. I'm going to put you on the radio. So I started to do weekends, overnights, like overnight shift. After Melissa the Midnight Mamacita, I'd come in and, you know, I remember the first concert we were promoting didn't even happen, but I remember like one of the first things I ever talked about on the air was, it was Ice Cube was headlining, Chingy, Jibs, Chain Hang Low. Yeah, that shit.
King Kong in the trunk.
That shit ended up not happening because it didn't sell enough tickets.
Oh, okay.
But no, so that's crazy. That was a shitty lineup if we're being honest.
What year is this? Just so we can map it out.
This is 06. Later on in 06 sometime. 06.
I was in 7th grade, by the way.
06. Yeah. And so yeah, Joe, I just started doing weekends and then that evolved into I'm finally getting paid. So I would do overnights. So I'd get paid to do overnights, right? And I also was getting paid to do a street team hit. So then I started interning for the morning show. So I was still in the building, but now I'm doing the morning show shit for free, just so I could get close to the morning show.
Yeah.
Right? I did that for like another 6 to 7 months for free. So I worked all together for free in some capacity at the radio station for at least 2 years. So check this out. This would be my day. I would do my street team hit. I would either go home and take a nap, depending on when the street team hit ended. Sometimes I would just stay at the station and take like an hour nap. Then I do my overnight shift, which would be from like 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. 1 a.m. to like 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. when the morning show started. And I'd stay there and do the whole morning show. So I literally was at the radio station all fucking day.
Holy shit, man.
I was doing the street team, then I was doing my overnights, then I would stay and help the morning show. And then I would die every time I'd go home or go to sleep, or it was just,
And then just repeat the next day.
100%.
You know what's crazy is that, I mean, I was working on the street team since, over here at iHeart from 2016 until about like 2017, 2018.
Right.
And I didn't really see that hustle in anybody. I felt like a lot of people just wanted to do the hits and then went home, and then nobody else, I mean, I would say aside from myself, like wanted to go ahead and like learn some shit at the radio.
Yeah, no, definitely that hustle is very much not existent anymore.
Yeah.
There's very few people which I have come across since that era that have that hustle and drive. And to be honest, I really don't. It's not that many, bro.
Yeah.
It's like everybody now needs some sort of compensation right away.
Well, I think it's also a sense of entitlement, yeah.
Entitlement, 100%. Yeah, everyone's entitled now. All these kids are entitled as fuck, man. Like when I was coming up, man, I had to put it all on the line in my particular situation. There was people who I worked alongside with that walked right in the fucking door and just straight to the radio.
Yeah.
You know, I did not have that route. So for me, it was like, okay, until they hire me, I got to survive this semester to get to the next semester as an intern just so I could stay in the fucking building. And had I not gotten brought back as an intern one of those times, I think I did 3 or 4 semesters as an intern. I don't know if I would have ever stuck with it. Because I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So like it worked out, but like I had to really, really like, bro, I quit college. Like I was like, okay, you know, I was really good in school, had good grades. I always wanted to go to college. I wanted to be the first person in my family to graduate from college. Still hasn't happened. Nobody has yet. But I wanted to be that person, right? And it just did, you know, I was like,
didn't pan out.
You know, it just didn't work. It just wasn't that it wasn't for me. It was just like, I didn't want to miss out on being at the radio station. So I was like, yo, I just need to go crazy with this. And then I'll figure the rest out. And that's where I that's how I got my name, Bootleg Kev, because I'd be the intern pulling up to the radio station. I'll be selling Joey Boy mixtapes or Jay Fillin mixtapes, or, you know, I'd have the bootleg jerseys from China and I would sell them to the sales department, or.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, you know, and, you know, not to really put our business out there, but I remember when you came at me with the opportunity to produce the Bootleg Kev show, which is on like a couple, like 8-9 stations right now.
Right.
Even you were keeping it funky with me. Like, look, Nico, like, I honestly cannot pay you right now, but then the profit margin for later down the line, if you really believe in this shit, like, you can really see where everything's going to go because of how the blueprints were set with other people who do like syndicated shows. And, you know, I really told myself, like, you know what, like, I already know your work ethic. I know what this can become. So I don't mind doing shit for free for a while until we can actually see some shit, like, you know, coming in.
Yeah. And honestly, thank you for that, because I don't know if I'd have been able to do this without you.
Oh, I appreciate that, man.
So, yeah, that's real. Same thing with James.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, look, James, we got this idea. Ain't no money right now. Well, we're going to try it, and, you know, we're finally starting to get some money. And hopefully this year we get a lot more of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think in a sense it's kind of like it's basically a small business, right?
Yeah. And for people who like, I make money on my podcast and my YouTube channel, and I make a ton of money doing a lot of shit. You know this. I'm doing very well. The radio show that we do every day barely just started to make us money, and it's not a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't make money on the radio show. I give all that money to you and James and to that fat Filipino fuck, your uncle.
Shouts out to Brian Sampson.
Yeah, fuck him. He smokes crack.
But yeah, I'm saying, like, there's a lot of risk that comes with it, but then there's a lot of reward that comes out of it if you can go through the trials and tribulations of, like, you know, not getting paid for a minute. Yeah,
you know, and for me, it's like anything that, you know, when you hear people say, like, you have to have money to make money, I don't think that's true. I think you just have to have the patience to stick with something until the money comes. Because in a certain sense, you'll hear a lot of broke motherfucking people complain, man, you know, you got to have money to make money. How am I supposed to get my shit started if I ain't got no money to start my shit? That's just an excuse. You really don't need no money to make nothing happen. You just need to be able to stick with it, bite the pillow, which is what you do every night.
Facts.
Bite the bullet, and just get through the really shitty parts of it. And thank God you're in a position where you're able to be like, hey, Kev, I could do the show and help you, and we'll get this thing started because you have Twitch going on.
Yeah.
Because you don't make no excuses. Because what you could have did, you got fired at the radio station. Me and you got let go within months of each other. You could have folded, but you doubled down on yourself.
Well, you know, I always reference you whenever I talk about my DJ story. I don't know if you know that.
I don't know that. I don't watch the bullet. I don't watch it. You know, I did catch the one episode with Sadaka.
Oh yeah, you did. I'm glad you did, fam.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But the reason why I reference you is because I think you specifically always made fun of me, and whenever you make fun of me, I always take it with like a grain of salt. It's like half true.
I make fun of you every day.
Yes, you do. But then when you do make fun of me in this particular situation, I told you at one point I was
DJing at a hookah
lounge for like $25.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
You'd be like, man, I gotta get out. I gotta leave the show early. I'm like, why? You're like, bro, I gotta go DJ at this hookah lounge.
Well, yeah, because I need to make some fucking money.
I was like, how much are they paying you? You were like $25. I was like,
you were looking at me crazy. But then I've always, and I don't know if I have told you, but then it's because I didn't want to do something that was outside of music. I didn't want to do anything that was outside of DJing.
I think I've heard you say that. Like,
you know what I mean?
You would rather do that than go get a job at fucking Dave's Hot Chicken.
Yeah, or like McDonald's or something.
Or anything
like
else.
Yeah, exactly.
You wanted to keep whatever you were doing in the same world because you understood that this is, whatever I'm doing, it's got to be in this, because this is what I'm passionate about.
Yeah. And then, you know, like going back to what you were saying, like right beforehand, like the more I did it, the higher my price got eventually. And then, you know, like through doing that and then doing Twitch and like more clubs, it's like, okay, my price just keeps on getting higher as time goes by.
Well, I think that the pandemic really showed you who's really with the shits and who's full of shit.
Facts.
I saw so many people who are fucking popping or think that their shit don't stink on social media. These motherfuckers was down bad during the pandemic. I made more money times 5 or 6 during the pandemic than I've made in my entire life.
That's lit, bro.
And so have you.
Oh, yes, I have. And I'm happy for it, man. I mean, you know, I was honestly, I think, sad at one point. I remember the day iHeart said we were going to, like, stop. I think it was about, like, a Thursday or a Friday. And you actually came to DJ my birthday, like, right before the pandemic hit.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah, you're the last place I went before the pandemic. Like, before everything shut down, you were the last, like, that was the last thing that happened before everything was bad. And it was in Koreatown, so, like, motherfuckers were super sketched out. Like, I remember at the door, like, not knowing if security was, like, I was like, this is weird. Like, that was, like, March, because when's your birthday? March
14.
So, look, that was
and it happened
right
on,
there.
like, March 12, March 13.
Fuck, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, bro.
I remember my wife was so mad that I DJ'd your shit.
Wait, was she?
Yeah, because of the COVID shit.
That's true.
Like, you're going to go DJ with people? What the
Mind you, Kev did also do it for free, so thank you for that.
I'm not going to charge you.
I know. Thank you, bud. But, damn, where the fuck was I going to go with that? Nonetheless, I remember you telling me, like, yeah, bro, like, we're not on fucking vacation right now. We just got to figure out how to do what we do, like, during these times.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best thing that happened was, when Doc Winters sent the email that said, we're doing everything from home.
Yeah.
I was like, tight. That means I don't got to be at that fucking place. Or any fucking place.
Yeah.
6 hours a day. It's lit. So me and Head, and we would just record the show whenever during the day. It would take us like an hour tops to just knock everything out. And from there,
upload to the server and all that. I mean, and that's essentially what we do today.
So it made a lot. It freed up a lot of bandwidth and time for me to do other things. And you know, like I opened a business, a small business, right? And I signed a lease for a studio February 1st of 2020. So then I'm like, oh shit, I got this studio. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep this bitch open because I don't know if people are gonna be booking studio time. Sure enough, they were still, because I was the only motherfucking studio that did not close during COVID. I said, you know what? Fuck it, we're staying open. We will be that place.
Yeah. Well, for people who don't know, like when you do work in radio, like we were doing what, 7 to midnight, 7 to 11, something like that. So we literally had to be at the radio station for those hours. Nowadays, like, you know, we can knock out.
It still is the case though.
Well, I mean, in regards to our current situation right now, like we can literally record Mondays and we can literally record whenever and like just knock out the show.
Yeah, like I mean, that's kind of what was cool about like last year. When did we start the show? In March,
April.
So like last year during the pandemic, just in general. Like, I know I could hit the road, just take my roadcaster. I mean, I was doing the radio show from the beach in Florida. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I remember when you went to New York a couple months ago, you were doing that shit from New York. 3 hours ahead of me.
yeah.
And I would get that shit by like 9 o'clock and
So
knock it out.
it just opens up. I mean, the most valuable currency is time. That is the most valuable currency anyone can. I mean, and when you free up your time, you know, if people out there got a 9 to 5, I respect it. If you could figure out a way to somehow get close to the money you make at a 9 to 5, not doing a 9, like maybe even if you could make half of the money you make at a 9 to 5, doing something that don't take up that much time, with all that extra time, you're gonna make way more money. So like, you know what I mean? Like people who are working at like T-Mobile. Man, I work at T-Mobile, you know, it's a good job, pays me well. But I don't want to do this shit. I want to be a photographer.
Yeah.
Or I want to be anything. I want to write scripts. I want to fucking start my own air conditioning business, whatever it is. Figure out something you can do. Maybe it's retail arbitrage. Maybe it's, I mean, you know me, as much money as I make in my life, and I make good money, I'm still buying and flipping shit on OfferUp, bro.
Yeah. I feel it.
There's people who will pull up and meet me to buy something off OfferUp, be like, Bootleg Kev, and I'll be like, yeah, what's up, man?
Yeah, this man sold anywhere from like PlayStations to like, I don't know, hand sanitizer, everything, bro.
I didn't do too much of the hand sanitizer, but I bought a bunch of hand sanitizer and I gave a bunch of, I still have so much in my house. I was one of those guys. I was one of those sanitizer hoarders.
I remember when you bought all the fucking top ramen out of the Ralphs when this whole shit started.
No, but I was selling, and I still do flip shit, but like, yeah, like I'm PS5s, fucking bikes, weights, fucking inflatable jacuzzis, bro. Like,
Jesus Christ, man. Well, I know you're on that Discord.
Yeah. So like I still love just hustling. There's no excuse.
You want to tell everybody about this Discord you're in?
No.
Okay.
No, the Discord is a members only thing. I pay to be a part of it, and it kind of helps me with some flips. It's called
You don't even know.
Wait,
you do got the Discord app though.
Yeah, no, I pay for this shit. I should know what the fuck it's called. Flipseek. Yeah, so like as much, and so like imagine if I'm a single guy, and now I have a child, 2 children, and a wife, right? So imagine I'm single, and I just need to get by. Like, bro, if you just apply yourself to making money, let's say you have that 9 to 5 T-Mobile job. And by the way, shout out to T-Mobile. There's nothing wrong with working at T-Mobile. But let's say you're not happy about working at T-Mobile. You're like, I want more for myself. Or some people think T-Mobile's great. I like T-Mobile. I'm a T-Mobile customer. Just an example. Maybe work at Home Depot. I don't fucking know. Wherever you work. Work at a call center.
Okay.
You're working 8 hours a day. And this is some like Gary Vee ass shit, but like legitimately, like you can literally take 2 or 3 more hours out of your day and figure out how to build up a way to just apply yourself to making an extra $100 a week. That's pretty obtainable if you ask me. $100 a week?
Yeah.
So if you're working your part-time job and you can figure out how to make $400 extra a month, that might give you some confidence to realize, oh, if I just keep doing this, I can maybe do $800 a month.
But I feel like even more so with that time that you do, let's say after your 9 to 5, that 5 to 9 is crucial for you to actually work on something that you enjoy.
It is crucial. And, you know, I just don't have any sort of sympathy for people who complain about their situation. Because I know what I had to do to get to where I'm at. And I never made an excuse. I just said, okay, I'm going to steal people's music and sell it at the swap meet.
But it works. And now we're here.
Hello.
Oh my God, man.
No, but like, you know, I was like, okay, like, dude, I would literally be in my fucking parents' house with the shittiest printer. I'd go to Office Max and I'd steal the ink out of the demo printers. I would hit like every Staples or Office Max in the city because they'd have my model of printer, and I'd steal ink out of them bitches. So, like, so I had ink to make my mixtape covers. I'd buy the jewel cases. You know what I'm saying? There was this fucking ill ass. This was like early internet days. My homie David, Brett Toman, who likes to Blowman, he showed me the ways of like downloading music online through message boards. So there was this message board called realistnwords.com.
Okay.
There was like a guy named Porky who ran it, but they would always post links on downloading mixtapes. This was before the blog era. So you would download the mixtape on there, and then I'd have to go and like find the artwork, and then I'd save the artwork, and then I would print it out, and then I would have my supplies. And I started doing that super early. Like the first album I ever sold at the swap meet, me and my boy David, we got Games documentary like 2 or 3 weeks early.
What the fuck?
And it was my idea to be like, yo, let's go to the swap meet and sell this shit.
And it worked?
Bro, we made like $400 in an afternoon as like 17-year-olds.
That's fucking lit, bro.
$400 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, bro probably committed some felonies. Shout out to the game. You know, I've told him this, but and so I got a taste that moment of just hustling. And so my homie David, he's an ambitionless fuck. So I would be like, yo, let's do this for real. So at a point in time, I'm at the swap meet every single weekend, selling mixtapes. Then I also become the mixtape plug to all of the clothing stores in the city. So if you had like a hip hop shop, a lot of them bought their product off of me. You'd go into the store to buy your fucking Academics or your fucking Echo, whatever kind of fuck shit you were wearing at the time. And there'd be that glass display case where you go to check out, there'd be mixtapes. I would supply
and you'd fill all that shit.
3 or 4 people around the city with those as well. So I would take orders like, hey, look, this is how much the tapes are. And I had that shit booming, bro.
Okay, if you were to estimate, how much do you think you've made off of mixtapes alone?
I mean, dude, I don't know. I probably made off of like burnt CDs.
Yeah, super ballpark.
Probably like 50 or 60 bands.
God damn.
But that was over like 2 years, 2.5 years.
I mean, that's a lot of fucking money for burnt CDs, mixtapes.
Yeah, maybe like 40, 50, 60. I really couldn't put but yeah, it was good money. Like there was a point in time where like, if I went to the swap meet, I'd have some days where I'd make like $200. I'd have other days I'd make like $800. And I'd be there Friday and Saturday.
When do you
Sometimes
finally
Wednesday nights?
When do you finally let go of the swap meet and just go kind of full-fledged into radio?
So like I started to get banned. So there was a swap meet in Tucson that just banned me. There was some fucking old ass dude selling Chicano rap music who would snitch on me. Some fucking old motherfucker had this trash ass record store in town. He was selling like fucking oldies and Chicano rap. And he used to fucking blow up my spot. Like try to get me arrested. Like, so he got me banned in Tucson because I used to make trips to Tucson. Like sometimes I would do like the Phoenix swap meet by day and then we drive to Tucson, do the Tucson swap meet at night. But he also had a spot in Phoenix. So he was kind of just like, it just felt like I might go to jail.
Oh, so you kind of just like let go of it altogether?
Oh, no, I didn't. I mean, I let go. Then I moved. I was doing mixtapes and picture tees.
Oh, nice.
Remember the
yeah.
picture tees? So I would have the heat press, my PC, everything in the parking spot of the swap meet.
The fuck?
So I would be heat pressing tees.
Yeah.
Somebody like, yo, I want Tupac's mugshot on a shirt. And then I started to get into fake shoes.
Fake shoes?
Yeah. And I got banned off eBay quick, though. So I would get like Tiffany Dunks that are like a ridiculous amount of money. I was like low-key just getting over on people and just not and just not caring, honestly. Like
Yeah.
I was just trying to live. I was trying to survive, right? So like I would like sell a pair of Tiffany Dunks on eBay like they were real. And I got away with it like 6 times until I didn't get away with it and my PayPal and my fucking eBay got banned. And then I would do that shit in the city where I would be like, people would take orders from me. But the shoes thing was tough because if you ordered from China, it took forever for shit to get shipped to you. And I had to pay any bootleg shit I had to cop, always had to pay on Western Union, which is a risky way to pay somebody that you don't see or know.
Why is that?
Because once you send money on Western Union, it's gone forever. Somebody could take it and be gone. There's no tracing it, nothing.
Okay.
So I realized shoes was a little bit, you got to have sizes. You got to have people's you got to have inventory.
Yeah, something like music is a lot more universal. You can kind of just
Well, also a lot more lower cost. I can make a bunch of inventory of mixtapes and each CD costs me like 80 cents or something. If I'm buying shoes, it's going to be like whatever I'm paying for each shoe. It's not 80 cents.
Yeah, and you got to go through like size 8, 9, 10.
Right. And then the t-shirts, there was a place called Mercurius Tees in Phoenix. I would go buy the blanks and then I would buy all the heat transfers. I'd have like 8 of them on display, right? And then people would pull up. They'd be like, what do you got? I'd have a book with all the pictures I had, or I'd let them come to the back of my spot and look at my computer and see all the photos. And they'd be like, I want that one. So I'd be able to kind of make them as they were paid for. Mm-hmm. But then I pivoted to having jerseys. So the bootleg NFL jerseys, which are fucking running rampant right now. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm sure.
When I first got bootleg NFL jerseys, it was not it wasn't like a thing yet. It was a thing because I got them.
Yeah.
But people didn't know that there was fake jerseys in these streets. People thought they was all real. So I'm getting a jersey for $22 from China and I'm selling it to some fucking idiot for like $150.
God damn.
Because they're thinking it's an in-game jersey because it's triple stitched. So I'm telling everyone, yo, these are the game jerseys, triple stitched. They're $300 at the store. I got you $150. Great fucking deal.
A part of you never felt bad that you were like tripling the price on this shit?
I would have I'd hop on Skype with this little Asian lady who was in China. It wasn't even Skype at the time. It was like MSN chat or some shit.
Meebo?
Nah, it was like MSN chat. It was like Hotmail chat or some shit. And she would show me the new jerseys, or I was like, hey, what do these shoes look like? She would show them on the camera. And so I would get a list. So I would order like the popular players that I knew I could sell. So like whoever was on the Cowboys, LaDainian Tomlinson from the Chargers, Ocho Cinco from fucking the Bengals, like whatever. Larry Fitzgerald. So people could see that the jerseys are legit. But then I would have a list of all the jerseys that I could get my hands on because the Chinese lady would give me a list. She's like, these are all the jerseys we have right now. So then I'd go to the radio station and the sales pit is full of nothing but football fans, rich white football fans.
Okay.
So I'd go back there with all my jerseys and just go each stop and be like, hey, triple stitch, check it out. Check out the quality. Quality's crazy. We're, oh my God, this is crazy. How do you got this plug? I'm like, I can't tell you, man. I can't. Did they fall off a truck? Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. No, that came from China. I didn't tell him that. And I would take orders, but everyone had to pay me first. So I get the money up front, and I'd be like, you give me 3 weeks and you'll have your jersey. I need 3 weeks to get
That's
your
what's
jersey.
up, bro.
So I would just walk around, and then I'd have them at the swap meet. And then again, I'd be at the swap meet selling bootleg jerseys, and the motherfucker at the swap meet selling the real sports products would be trying to snitch on me.
That's fucked up, man.
It is what it is.
It's all good. So then, at one point, didn't you like end up going to like Boise for radio?
Yeah. So I was just doing the morning show with the Nuts. I ended up being their producer. I was doing weekends, and then I was doing an underground hip hop show with Ramses, my best friend, called Friday Night Flavors. And then I ended up getting fired for just being young and stupid. I was like fucking chicks at the station. I was just like moving around like a real dickhead, like in retrospect, like a young, arrogant, like ignorant fuck who didn't really appreciate. Like I was moving around like I was a little untouchable. So I got fired, and at the time I had already had the discussion to go to Boise because at Power in Phoenix where I was at, I was producing the morning show, which I was getting paid for. I was on the street team and I was doing weekends in the hip hop show, right? So I was making okay money because I was doing so much, but there was no full-time slots available. Everyone was under contract. So like the morning show was the Nuts. The midday person was Carly Hustle, who was never going nowhere. She was the APD. The afternoon show was this guy named J Times 3 who had just re-signed. And the night show, I think, was Sandra Pena at the time. But everyone had just re-signed their contracts. I'm like the next dude up. If someone gets fired or there's an opening, I'm for sure the next guy up. But I'm like, do I want to wait 2 or 3 years to be the next guy up? So I'd already started talking to that Boise station. It was my boy DJ Complex who went over there. And so when I got let go, again, I was in a real tough place. I got fired. And I was like, fuck. That's another point in time where I might have not ever continued my radio career. If I didn't get that job in Boise, I might have been done.
Yeah.
Because I needed to survive, bro. So I got fired, and there was like this weird amount of time because I got fired in November of 2008. And I'm talking to this Boise situation. And to save you from the details the Boise situation was not
ideal.
It was essentially, I thought I had the job for sure. Turns out I didn't have the job for sure. So then I need this gig. Whatever the case is, I ended up taking $25,000 to move to Boise. $25,000 a year. And that was my first full-time gig. I started doing that shit in January of 2009. And yeah, Boise was cool. I was there for a year. I mean, my boss was, at the time, he was yeah.
And then after that, what, you go over to Florida for radio?
No. Then so as soon as I got to Boise, I wanted to leave because who wants to stay there?
Yeah.
No one's
middle
like,
of nowhere, bro.
Yeah, no one's like, oh my God, I'm in Boise. This is it.
But I feel like that was also the traditional route for, let's say, even like TV or radio at that time. Like you always, like, let's say you're from a major city, you always had to go to like a smaller market, just like make a name for yourself, build your resume, and then move over to somewhere else.
Yeah, so I'm in Boise, and I'm like, okay. They told me I couldn't go by Bootleg Kev.
What the fuck?
That name is too urban.
That's crazy. Was it a pop station or?
No, it was a rhythm station. It was Wild 101 Boise's party station playing nothing but rap music. And this cocksucking program director was like, yo, yeah, you're don't be too cool for the room when you crack the mic. I remember I told someone I was hooking them up with tickets, and he came storming into the fucking studio, and he was like, hooking them up. I don't think the people out here know what that means. You're being too cool for the room. Are you hooking their car up to a tow truck? I'm like, what the fuck?
I'm hooking you up. What the fuck, man?
Fucking anyway.
That's crazy.
So I'm there, and I'm like trying to get the fuck out of there because I don't want to stay in Idaho. Shout out to Idaho. Great place to raise a family. Beautiful city. Don't want to stay there. Maybe if I was like an unambitious fuckhead, I'd be like, yeah, let's just stay in Boise and make $30,000 a year and, go watch the rodeo.
So what happens after Boise?
And so I'm like trying to get out, but I'm fucking trying to get the fuck out of there, like right away, right? So I'm sending my fucking shit out every fucking second I can send my shit out, like trying to just move. I'm just like, I need to get out of here. There was this lady named Sharita Salisbury.
Shout out to Sarita.
She's a wild one.
Salisbury?
Salisbury.
Nice.
Sharita Salisbury. She has a radio station in Las Vegas. KVEG. Hot 97.5. Legendary hip-hop station in Las Vegas. Owned by a rich lawyer who does a lot of cocaine. And at the time, ran by a lady named Sharita. Now, Sharita, I owe a lot to in my life. Outside of the fact of her being probably the most incompetent person I've ever worked for, she has a great ear for talent. Just Incredible used to work there. Franny used to work there. Yessie Ortiz used to work there. CeCe used to work there. Sharita changed my life. She was a maniac, a crazy person. She was irrational. She got cameras installed in the studio, and she'd watch them from home, We weren't allowed to be on our cell phone in the studio or we'd get written up.
Holy shit.
We weren't allowed to be on the internet at this fucking radio station.
But you took it.
Oh, I was the fuck out of there. I'm like, I'm moving to Vegas. Fuck Boise. So I worked for this lady, Sharita, which was dope. And Vegas changed my life because I was fucking hanging out. That's where I started to do big interviews and like really get my YouTube shit popping. And, you know, I would do all that despite being under her thumb. We would bring guests in super late at night. She would never know about it. She didn't even know I had a YouTube. She was so just oblivious to what was really going on.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, if she ever actually went on my YouTube channel, I'd be fucked. Because she'd be like, when did you have all of these random...
Holy shit. So she didn't know that you did any interviews
Bro,
at
I'd
the
have
station.
Mac Miller in the studio, MGK in the studio, all these people, and she had no fucking clue that it was actually happening at the radio station. Because we had a production studio, Kendrick Lamar, I had Kendrick freestyling, I had fucking J. Cole freestyling. She had no fucking clue. We had a production studio that had no cameras in it. And I used to have my boy Baby Joe film everything on my little USB thing. And I mean, there was a few that she knew about because they're through the label and she'd set them up, you know. But like all the underground shit, like Kendrick Lamar, if she would have known I had Kendrick Lamar there at that time, I would have got fired.
Yeah. But I felt like that was also the risk that you were willing to take because the way she had like an ear for the radio talent, you've always had the ear for just like underground artists.
I mean,
and
listen,
shit.
like I said, I can like what I loved about Sharita was, as much as she was a maniac, she would never fuck you over without you seeing it coming. She'll tell you she's about to fuck you over. Jay Cruz, the Cruise Show. I worked with him in Vegas. He was doing mornings when I was there. Let me tell you the type of bitch Sharita is.
Let's go.
She called this motherfucker into her office. And mind you, I might be smudging the details a little bit.
Okay.
But the meat and cheese of this is factual. She posted his fucking job while he was still doing mornings.
Oh, fuck.
So Cruz is doing mornings as Jay Noise. Sharita's not happy with him. They get into a riff because she used to get into fights with people and like take it personal. And like, she's a wild one. She posted Cruz's gig while he's there. And that is what pushed him to LA. It forced him to come and figure the LA shit out. So that's the kind of person Sharita, but at least he saw it coming.
At least he knew. At least he knew.
At least he didn't come in one day and she be like, hey, you're fucking out of here. So he was able to prepare. And I don't even know if she would have ever fired him. She just liked to play mind games with people. And like, she loved to have like that control over you where she knew that like, so that shit was an interesting go, to say the least.
Was she ever fucking with you mentally on that note?
Oh my God, yes. Bro, I took my job home with me every day. It was like, bro, Sharita was the worst boss I ever worked for. In terms of, she was the worst boss I ever worked for.
But she gave you the opportunity.
Yes. And I do believe that Sharita doesn't realize how terrible she was. And I think that she, at the very least, like I said, she's like she rode for me. Like there was this cocksucker named Lucky, the DJ, who did some foul ass shit to me in Boise. And Sharita ran into him at a radio convention and like banged on him.
Oh, because she was fucking loving you.
And I was on the same shit with the radio station. I banged Hot 97.5 like it was a gang, and I repped Sharita like she was my fucking, like she was Suge Knight and I was Tupac. But it was a fear-driven workplace. But I kind of understood what I was walking into, so I try not to take it personal. I saw that radio station make people crazy. I saw that radio station make people cry, make them question their existence. I knew what it was. I never took nothing personal she did. And I was better for Sharita Salisbury being in my life. And I'll always, always have love for her. If she's watching this, I don't know what she's doing with her life right now, but I got love for Sharita Salisbury.
Would you say that is, also the radio station that kind of got your name buzzing because you were bringing in so many people?
1,000,000%. If it wasn't for me going to Vegas to do radio, all the relationships that I have started in Vegas. I was able to play I had me and DJ Sam I Am, Gerlach who likes to Spurlock.
Oh, you worked with Sam I Am back then too?
Yeah, I brought him with me from Boise.
Okay.
I met him in Boise.
Oh.
Yeah, I got that motherfucker out of Boise.
Shouts out Sam I Am.
So we had this underground hip hop show, Ready Set Radio, the show I started in high school. I was doing in Vegas on Sunday nights. We were playing all the ill rap shit, all the fucking early Kendrick, Currency, Big Crit, all that shit. So through that show is how I really got to open up my network, because everyone comes to Vegas and I'm the only person in the country playing shit on the radio when radio actually kind of matters. So if it wasn't for Vegas changed my whole life. Made it possible for me to do anything, because that's where I got, I guess, clout is what you would call it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I bought my first house in Vegas. You know, I love Vegas. Vegas is like a part of me. Some of my best friends in the world still live there. Like my guy Ron is like still one of my best friends, and I met him there. Sam I Am still is there. But yeah, I plan on wanting to kind of like low key stay in Vegas forever. I kind of been like, this is home. I never want to leave. This is beautiful. Even like my old program director from Boise, when ended up in Phoenix at Power, which was always like my dream job, right? It's home. But he was trying to get me to come and work and do afternoons in Phoenix. And I was like, on some like, nah, I like it here. And then one day, Sharita, I was late to work because I blew a tire on the freeway.
Legitimately.
Bro, summertime in Las Vegas. I show up to the radio station, sweating like a fucking whore in church. White shirt, fucked up, hands are black from changing a tire. I'm like 20 minutes late to my shift. This lady comes in and writes me up and fines me $200.
What the fuck?
And says, don't forget who feeds your kid. And so when that happened, that's when I called Mikey Fuentes' bitch ass. Hey, is that offer still on the table at Power in Phoenix? Yeah, but it's for $5,000 less now because you didn't jump on. I'm taking it. Consider it done. So I took the job to move back to Phoenix, and I'd already planned this out. And I'm the only motherfucker I know who actually. So I'm the only person I know who actually I signed off on the air without her knowing that I was quitting.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's a fucking huge deal, bro.
So I knew I was quitting. The only reason why I held off from quitting that day that she disrespected me like that was because I had an interview with Ludacris set up. And it was Memorial Day weekend, so this was May of 2012. And I was like, man, I want to interview Luda this weekend. And this was another one of those interviews that she didn't know about, right? And I used to have a pretty close relationship with Ludacris. I was supposed to be on one of his albums. Like I did a bunch of stuff for skits, and the album never came out. So Ludacris, I was like, man, I want to interview Luda. I'm going to do that interview, but then I'm going to quit. So in Vegas, they made you work 6 days a week live. So I was on afternoons, Monday through Saturday. So the only day I had off was Sunday. So I interviewed Ludacris early in the day on Saturday. And then I had my resignation email typed up. Didn't hit send yet. My guy, Mr. Bob, comes in. And I'm like, hey, bro, this is my last break here. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you're about to see.
Oh, my God, bro. That's at least a very gangster-ass way to leave the radio station.
So crack the mic, Mr. Bob, you know, I'm in that station. We had to toss it. We had the last break. I brought him on so we could talk about what's going on his show. So I'm on the mic and I'm like, hey, listen, by the way, Vegas, I love you. This is my last break on Hot 97.5. I've decided to move on. I want to thank Sharita Salisbury for the opportunity she given me. I always have nothing but love for this radio station and for this city. But this is my last time being on the air. Hey, Mr. Bob, it was real working with you. And he was like, whoa, what?
I was like, what the fuck?
Whatever. So I turned the mic off, hit send on the resignation email. And literally didn't hear from nobody in that motherfucker. Like, she didn't even reply to the email. I got my last check in the mail. And then I didn't see her for like 2 years. And then I saw her at South by. And she hung out with us. Sarita, like, pretty much rocked with me at South by for like a whole day. and was like, "Oh my God, you're really making something of yourself." Like, and I was like, "Look, I'm sorry, by the way, I quit." You know, and me and her kind of had like a cool like patch up. You know, they thought I'd stole turntables from the radio station, which I didn't. She was like, "Yeah, are you sure you didn't steal anything from the radio station?" I'm like, "No." Like, what?
The fuck?
Yeah. Like some shit came up missing like 2 weeks after I quit, and they thought it was me. She had fired me.
That's crazy.
The craziest thing too, I think I'm the only person that Sharita fired and then rehired in the same day.
Wait, what does that mean?
So I got called. So in October of 2011, I went to Phoenix to go to the fair while I'm at Hot 97 in Vegas. And I go to the radio station in Phoenix just to see my homies. And at the time, Mikey Fuentes had just taken that job. And he didn't offer me a job yet, but, you know, I'd worked with him in Boise. He's like, "Come by the radio station, whatever. Somehow she got a whiff. I know exactly what happened. This bitch, Lady G, who's still there, by the way, who's the way worse version of Sharita. Damn, we throwing shots during
Jesus
this podcast.
Christ, yeah, it's nothing but shot.
That's okay. That's a bridge I'm not worried about burning.
Okay.
Whenever she gets fired from KVEG, her shit is done. No, so Lady G told her that I went to Phoenix for a job interview. So when I got back to Vegas, I got called into the office of the GM with her and Lady G. And she pretty much said, "Hey, you're fired. You went, I don't like it when motherfuckers are out trying to get other jobs under my nose." And I was like, "Well, who told you that?" And she looked at Lady G and I was like, "Well, just so you know, Lady G's a liar. She don't fuck with me, so she's trying to get me fired, but I appreciate the opportunity anyway." And I walked out. 30 minutes later, now this is like around noon. My show starts at 3. 30 minutes later, I'm next door at the McDonald's with my guy, Baby Joe and Raging Asian, explaining to them what the fuck just happened. Sharita's calling me. I'm like, "Hello. Hey, Kev. About earlier. I think I got ahead of myself. I changed my mind. Please be back by 3 o'clock to do your show."
There we go, Kev.
Yeah. That was a fucking... Yeah,
That's
Vegas
lit.
was a trip, man. I love Vegas. I'm super happy to still be on the radio there.
Yeah.
After all these years, to be on it, Real 103.9 is dope. And I love that city, man. I would live there again, for sure. I loved Vegas. Vegas changed my life.
Then after that, what, Florida?
No, then I went back to Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got fired in Phoenix for some fuck shit.
And then Florida.
Then I went to Tampa. And Tampa was great.
And then Real 92.3.
Yep. Then LA. So that's how, you know, it was kind of like playing basketball. You get to like go to different teams and move to cities and shit. That's kind of how radio is for the most part.
Yeah. I mean,
And radio sucks. Don't get into it anymore. It's dead.
I was about to say that, man, like, because I feel like people, I mean, I feel like the idea of radio dying happened maybe around like 2016, 2017.
I mean, listen, radio's not dead. It is still very much a profitable business. It is still very much an important important part of a lot of people's lives. 100%. When I say radio's dead, I mean the idea of what I looked at radio to be coming up. The idea that I could just do middays and like market 60 and have a good life. Those days are dead.
Gotcha.
Radio is never going to die. There's more competition. There's streaming services. There's podcasts. But when I say radio's dead, that's what I mean. Like radio's dead. The radio I tried to get into is dead. Like it's a very hard business to make real money in. It was always a hard business to make real money in. You know, I was making $33,000 a year in Vegas. You know, I was making...
You said 25 in Idaho.
55 in Phoenix. But I offer remotes, I hit that 100,000 mark. But Tampa, I was making 65. But with remotes, I made more.
Nothing crazy.
But like, not to say that that's not good money. For me, it was at the time.
Yeah, I just feel like the big boys and the Charlemagnes of the world, you can't really get to that in radio anymore.
Listen, it's not about whether or not you can get to that position, but you can't solely rely on being on the radio.
Yeah.
Like if you think of someone like, I don't know, just a recency. you think of like Adam 22, someone who I just went on his show, right? He's somebody who, like, you know what? Let's scrap Adam. Jason Lee, Hollywood Unlocked. It's even a better example. So Jason Lee is someone who built his own shit, his own thing that had nothing to do with radio. Hollywood Unlocked.
I know where you're going.
And then they reached out to him and gave him, I'm not sure who reached out to who, so I might be wrong there. But iHeartRadio gave him a spot on the radio, a syndicated weekend show that's all over the country. Now, would that have been possible if he would have just hit the street team and try to work his way up at Real 92.3? No, because that's a very prehistoric way to get to where he got to. That's not how you know what I mean? And I'm not saying there's still, listen, there's exceptions to everything. So if there's somebody who's watching this, who's doing radio in a small market and they're on the street team and they're like, yeah, but I really want to do the night show in Gainesville or Lexington, Kentucky, wherever it is, right? Like, cool. But I'm just letting like everyone know, like, you better be doing a whole lot more than just like the job and waiting your turn.
Yeah, because I also feel like with radio trying to compete with social media, Spotify, even like YouTube, for example, because like anybody could do interviews nowadays. It's like they're much more willing to grab a brand that's already established and see how they can help.
Yeah,
radio
listen. I'm in a position where I have so many relationships that I've built over the years. We're talking, 17 years I've been in the business. Really? Yeah, 17 years. 19 years if you count me being on the radio in high school, but 17 like actually being in the building at a terrestrial radio station that mattered. So like when I decide during the pandemic, you know what? I opened the studio. I mean, you know this, I'd always been talking about doing the Bootleg Kev Podcast. I just always had an excuse why I didn't do it. But
lack of time, as we were talking about earlier.
Right. So I was like, you know what? Even though I'm still on with Head every night, I have a studio. We weren't able to go in. We were only doing these trash-ass Zoom videos or IG Live videos. And at the time, it kind of felt like me and Head's brand started to kind of like really split. They were already kind of split. We'd just come together and do the show. But like he would do his IG Lives. I would do mine. Like,
yeah, I felt like, working with you guys for 2, maybe 3 years, it always felt together, but also split.
Yeah, which was fine because I love Head, I do love Head.
Yeah, he definitely loves Head.
Shout out to my wife. No, so like me starting a podcast, it's a lot easier than the guy who's at Foot Locker who wants to start a podcast and interview famous people.
Yeah.
So that is true. But at a certain point in time, Adam 22 was somebody who had zero industry connections, and he found a niche and was interviewing these like super underground artists in the same way that you had your niche that you set on fire, burned and pissed to the ground because of the Twitch money.
And we're continuing it over here.
But you found your niche where you're like, oh shit, if I lean into like the 88 Rising crowd and like I could be that, that's smart. So I'm not like naive to the fact that like it's a lot easier for me to say start a podcast because I did it and it works. But that's also because I have the relationships I have that I've been building for 17 years.
Yeah.
But either way, if you're at a radio station, I would say you're kind of the blueprint. What you did, you were on the street team, but you had your own thing going on that was separate from the radio station, no matter how big or small it was. And you stay consistent. And that consistency is what brings respect because you had people within the building, people who are my friends, people who you know very well, who are your friends, who would like, Cloud, what the fuck is this fool Nico doing? What's your boy doing?
Just interviewing some randos.
Right. But like the more you stuck with it, the more people had to respect it because they're like, oh, Nico shit kind of matters. And so that's what I would tell everybody. I'm not saying radio's dead, and I'm not saying if like you're at a radio station right now and you're like, it looks good or you feel good about your position, like you might have an opportunity, you should quit and be like, fuck this. I'm just saying, like, good luck.
Yeah.
And I truly mean that.
Yeah, because I think I don't want people to ever think that, like, I mean, this is even coming from me, which I feel like I'm like a couple generations past, I guess, your realm of radio, is that, like, I understand that, like, you can't solely rely on it to just be your moneymaker. It's kind of like that secondary asset that you have along with, like, everything else that you got going on. Cause
dude, listen, back to even the LA thing. So even, let's see, in 2016, I am officially 11 years into the radio game. I leave Tampa. I go to Phoenix to live just to do weekends in LA. So I'm making a sacrifice as a grown-ass man in 2016 who's a somebody in this business to put my ego to the side and go do a 4-hour shift in LA just to try to get this full-time slot that I knew that was probably waiting for me, you know? Even then, Doc Winter calls me, says, hey, look, Kev, I opened up a slot for you. And mind you, I'm like skipping a whole lot of shit here. The money was like, all right.
Yeah.
I got a brand new fiance who has a child. I have my son. And I'm like, okay, I got to move my family to LA to survive.
And make less money.
To make less money than I was making in Tampa.
With a higher cost of living.
Yeah. Now, mind you, the base was more than my base in Tampa, but my Tampa side money I cleaned up on the remotes and the sponsorships. So I left. So I'm making less money, definitively, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna move to LA to do the night show with Dre Sinatra and DJ Damage, and I'm gonna just figure this shit out. And that's what I did a lot of stuff to figure. I was doing a lot of stuff to just have money.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I'm hustling. I'm selling everything. So for me to like survive in LA and keep a roof over and like to have like to maintain the quality of life that I want, I moved to LA and I'm fucking knee deep in selling weed and moving packs and dude, just hitting licks. Like straight up. Like I literally, in order to survive and keep my radio shit alive in Los Angeles to be able to feed my kids, I had to sell drugs, bro. Like really, like I was making more money selling dope than I was selling at Real 92.3.
Shit.
Yeah, but I had to do that shit. And I'm not talking, I wasn't selling crack or cocaine, but I'm like, you know, weed, like heavily moving weed. Like, and this is not something that like, I've always been around it, but I'm like, okay, now that I'm in LA, I got all the plugs. I know what I'm doing.
You're also networking at the same time.
Heavily networking. Heavily networking. So, like legitimately that was not even by choice. It was like, okay, and I'm DJing every fucking weekend. I'm going to San Diego, I'm doing Playhouse, or I'm going back home to AZ to hit a bag. So I'm like working myself to the bone just to fucking survive. And so when I tell you like, I mean, I got to a point where like I kind of had some shit figured out in life, you know, where I was making good money. I was doing then I got into the legal side of the weed game with vaping, which was fucking great. I fucking found out like, oh, because I know all of these rappers and they come to me, I can monetize that.
Why don't you?
What?
Yeah, I feel it.
What? So I'm working for vaping as a contractor, and they're paying me more money than I'm making at the radio station to give product to rappers.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I feel like, radio has always just been like that catalyst for you to get people to like the other shit that you want to do anyway.
So once I'm like fully, it's crazy because living in LA made me rethink all of my whole shit. I'm like, damn, if I'd have had this mind state of getting to money this whole time, shit.
But I feel like you did.
Nah, but it was different. Early on, it was like the swap meet. But I mean, just figuring out how to monetize relationships, and there was just like certain little things that like I used to not even know I could get paid for that I would do for free. I used to be so happy to get free shit from like a clothing brand or something.
Oh, as opposed to using that clothing brand as a sponsorship for whatever you got going on.
Exactly.
Mm.
Like there was like a point in time, like if you told me like 5 years ago, hey, there's this weed company, they're just gonna give you free weed to give to your dad, but you got to get rappers to take pictures with their shit. I'd be like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
But then knowing that you work with rappers who, I mean, have multi-millions of followers and a huge fan base, it's like, why not just monetize that instead?
In terms of like figuring out like just different ways to make money, you know, like in without like it, you know, obviously without losing your integrity and like taking money to play songs, shit like that. Like, but that shit would not happen.
Yeah.
But like yeah, so like just being in LA and just trying to like when they say LA is like, you know, it is what you make it. Mm-hmm. And you know, shout out to LA. It's very much important to me to live here. I love LA. I appreciate LA. I've leveled up my whole life because of Los Angeles. And I don't plan on going anywhere.
Mm-hmm. I feel like with you know, I don't want people to get it like misconstrued because like I remember going to college and they would tell us like don't take money to do like interviews or like shit like that. Like
yeah, and there's people who do that. Because
I'm sure you get hit up a lot. Just for that shit.
Just so people know, like if you're on the radio and someone pays you to play their song, that's illegal. That's not like against the rules. No, it's illegal. If you are on the radio and someone pays you to talk about their business, their mixtape, whatever, that's illegal. It's not illegal to take money for an interview.
But I think it does like take down your integrity at that point.
Yeah, like if you have a platform and you're taking money to interview somebody, your platform means absolutely nothing.
Facts. I've never done it. That means you've never done it.
Nah, hell no. Hell no. And I've had people offer me serious amounts of money to come on my show. I'm like, nah, bro, your shit is trash. Like, the way I look at it is if I want to interview someone, I'm going to just do it.
Yeah.
Period. Like, I don't care. Like, and that's the whole point of like when people are like, oh, like when I see people and they're like, yo, Kev, I fuck with you because you had Chase Fetty on your show freestyling. Or I fuck with you because you was fucking with Griselda in 2017. Or I fuck with you because, you know, whatever it is, it's like, bro, if I'm bringing someone on my shit, it's because I want them to be there.
Yeah.
It's either because, one, I'm interested in speaking to them. Two, I understand the value that it could bring to my YouTube channel. I've interviewed people that I'm not a fan of, but I understand that I need to take this interview because it makes sense. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yep.
Three, I'm a fan. I think you're dope. I don't care if you have 10,000 followers or you have 10 million followers. There's a kid named Chris Koch from Phoenix.
Yeah, he's fucking dope. I remember you bringing him onto your show and freestyling.
Chris Koch, I don't know, at the time had 1,000 followers or something. I don't know. He got a new IG. I don't know what's going on. Like I don't know. But I'm like, yo, you're just dope. Pull up. He's a kid from Phoenix. And what's funny is that dude had hit me like, yo, you let me know what we need to do for me to come on your show. I'm like, bro, you don't got to do nothing. You're dope.
Yeah, just pull up.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of guys like, bro, you remember Trey Haggerty?
Yeah, I remember him.
Bro, there's this kid named Trey Haggerty who's still doing his thing. That fool came on my IG live and I just like heard his shit. I know Head likes to be like the guy who listens to music on IG live, but like millions of people did that, including me. Back when I was on with Damage, I used to do that. But like, I was on IG live and Trey Haggerty was like, yo, check my shit out. And I went live with him and his shit was dope as fuck. And I was like, yo, come on the show and freestyle. This is like someone who I didn't know anything about. It was just like, I just think you're dope. And I would like to share my platform because I know my platform, it holds some amount of integrity to where if you're on it, some people will check you out and find you on it. Mm-hmm. And if you are taking money to do an interview, you are a goofball.
Yeah. Facts.
You are literally like, what is your platform worth? Because to me, my shit is priceless. This is how I feed my kids. This is what I built over 17 years. So that shit, you can't put a dollar amount on that. I just offered someone money for the first time to do an interview, to pay someone to come on my show. I just offered 5 bands to Antonio Brown. I mean, he probably ain't gonna take it.
Yeah, but
I was like, I told Wack was with AB last night. I said, yo, tell the motherfucker I got 5 bands for him to pull up.
Yeah. But then you also know the value of like how that would return on like your YouTube channel and all that.
My Iman Shumpert interview made me $35,000.
Yeah.
So if I can get AB on, that's at least 10.
Well, at least double your shit back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, yo, AB, you want to pull up? Now that I like know how much like money there is in the YouTube shit, if somebody who I deem to be worth it, of course, and mind you, I would rather not do that at all. And like really the only exception I'd make is for him. Because it makes sense right now. But that's the only time I've ever even thought about it. And that's funny. The only reason I even thought to offer him money was because I DM'd his page and they hit back and said, what's your budget?
Oh, okay.
And so I said, oh. And then I thought to myself, well, shit, if I just made $35K off of one interview with Iman Shumpert, shout out to him. Damn, I could. How much can I make off an AB interview? I mean, so when I saw Wack was with him in LA last night, I hit Wack like, hey, bro, tell that fool I got 5 bands for him.
But I think also in addition to that too, I guess the way I'm seeing is that like that 5 bands would not only like double or potentially even like triple up your money, but then you additionally open up your realm for like a whole bunch of sports.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying. And that's the other thing is, if I'm probably more passionate about sports than I am about anything else.
Yeah,
maybe even more than music, right? So, so I'm definitely trying to do more sports stuff. But yeah, like my thing is like have integrity. If you have a platform, don't whore it out. Don't do goofy shit for money. Don't just be like interviewing people. Because if you could get paid to stand next to anybody, then what is your cosign worth? Like seriously, if you could pay for my cosign, what the fuck is it worth?
Yeah, that's just not even a fucking cosign at that point. I
mean,
shit.
No, dead ass, bro. Like think about it. Like you're just paying me to stand here. So that means anyone can pay me to stand here. So that means if some fucking if Jeff Bezos' son wants to rap tomorrow and he is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, and then it kind of degrades like your platform if you end up having him on. I
mean, listen, he's Jeff Bezos' son, so I'm having him on because I want to talk to Jeff Bezos' son. So terrible example.
Yeah.
That's a terrible...
Maybe somebody with less money.
You know what? And to be fair, I'm going to be honest. If Jeff Bezos' son wants to come on the show and pay me for it, I'm going to take the money.
Take the fucking money?
Because I'm going to interview Jeff Bezos' son anyway, so I might as well grab the bag off him too.
Yeah, maybe not on like some music shit.
That's an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Yo, so what was it like living with the fucking
Yeah,
Dr. Evil? How was that?
All that fucking money and
that was a bad example.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying.
If anybody can stand next to you, then what does standing next to you mean?
Okay, so for people starting a platform or a podcast or whatever, like give us just a summary of the blueprint on how to connect with people and make money through that.
Well, this is what I will say. You need to, the first thing you need to do is make sure your shit looks good. I just had a conversation with a good homie of mine who relaunched his podcast. I won't say his name because I don't want to air him out. Well, he's the homie. I'm actually going to be on his podcast. I'll say it, Podson. Zero Clout Podcast just started in Arizona, but he used to have a podcast called the Podson Show, Podson Radio. But he put his first episode out and like I was like, hey man, like I had to hit him and be like, hey, like get some new cameras. Like I sent him like a whole list of all the equipment he should get. Like, yo, get these lights, get this. Cause like at the end of the day, you want your shit to look good. If you want someone to take you serious, imagine you trying to book a interview with someone famous and they're like, yeah, let me see what your like send me your show. Yeah. And they open your show and it looks like shit. It's a bad look.
Yeah, it doesn't look good at all.
So invest in yourself. Like get like, you know, get a Rodecaster. If you're gonna do video, get an A10 Mini Pro. because you can streamline a lot of like for people who don't know, you have this on camera, this little thing that you're switching these angles by yourself. So you don't have a producer, right?
Right.
You're recording this feed live, so you don't have to worry about editing later.
Mm-hmm.
You have 2 cameras on tripods.
Mm-hmm.
You're switching the angles by yourself. Nobody can even notice or cares that you're doing it, right? So that's most people who are trying to start a podcast, like, I need to get a cameraman, or I need to do this, or you don't need any of that.
Yeah.
It's just me and you in this room right now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all that's in here. Period. So you get an A10 Mini Pro, get two or 3 cameras. 2, you only really need 2. Really, you
only need to, I mean, you really only need one,
if
honestly.
You
only need
honest,
one.
Yeah. Get an A10 Mini Pro, get a solid state hard drive to run out of the back of that. Get 2 cameras that are good cameras, right? Not like fucking, get a A60. Don't get A6300, they overheat. Get a fucking A7
A7 IIs.
Right? Get a couple of those. You don't even have to get these mics. Get the pod mic because they sound really good for the price.
Yeah.
They're $100 a piece. Run them into the Rodecaster. So then you have your basics. You have everything you need for your shit to look solid. You need lighting.
Mm-hmm.
The lighting is super important. So get your lighting together. And I had to learn all this shit. I'm like, like the early Bootleg Kev episodes, we were trying to figure out lighting. Like I had like some old lights in my garage. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
So get all that shit together, and then just kind of figure out your niche. Like if you want to do music interviews, or you want to do, I would just say, try to be as unique as possible. That's really what I would say. If let's say you're watching this and you're in Indianapolis, Indiana, then go crazy for Indianapolis, Indiana, and that whole region. If somebody who's popping in, I don't even know what's near Indianapolis, Indiana.
I don't even know either. You probably know more than me.
Okay. Let's say you have a 3-hour drive away, there's some dude who's popping in that city, or that's popping in the region. Drive to him. Shoot the interview. Go to him. Go to the content. Don't let the fact that someone's far away or get off that Zoom shit is trash too.
Yeah.
I mean, and I understand we're in the middle of a pandemic, so if you have to do Zoom, I'm not judging you. But if you don't have to do Zoom, don't
do it. It just looks better. It looks better when you don't have to do Zoom.
And then as far as just making money, if you have relationships in your life where you're like, hey, I know someone who owns a restaurant, or hey, I know somebody who's got I don't know. Just try to see if you can get someone to give you money to sponsor your shit. Like as soon as I launched my podcast, me and my boy Eric LaRock, who was producing my show, we have a great relationship with Odd Socks. I've known Odd Socks, the owners, and my boy Obese since 2014. This company started out of Tampa, Florida.
That's crazy.
Now they're huge. So as soon as we start the podcast, like we're like, yo, we need sponsors. So I had Vapin cut me a check right away for the first 52 episodes. They gave me 10 bands. I'm thinking, oh my God, 10 bands? I can make like 10,000?
Yeah.
For 52 episodes? By the way, terrible. I undersold myself.
Well, but also too, you were just starting the shit up. So then 10 bands off the rip is kind of like, all right.
That's what I was looking at. I got a $10,000 head start.
Yeah.
So if you notice,
I would have looked at that too.
Right. So like you see the vaping on the fucking mic flag.
Yeah.
I got 10 grand for that. For 52 episodes, which took us
couple months, maybe
eight months, 7-8 months to do. So then Odd Socks comes on right away. That was way better money. Way better money.
Mm-hmm. Also, we get the socks and the underwear too.
Well, I kill it for Odd Socks because I truly fuck with their product. It'd be different if like I didn't like their shit or I didn't know them. I know them. I know they're good people, and I genuinely fucking love their product. I have Odd Socks on right now. The basics. Like, I love my Odd Socks. I wear them. And they and the thing is like we did a deal with them, and it expired, and then we re-up for more money. And then we're gonna do that again. And I plan on working with them forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't care. Like honestly, if a sponsor came through with more money, which is gonna happen soon, we've already had people reach out about more money. If a sponsor came through with more bread, that was in their lane, I would turn them down.
Yeah. Also, because you don't want to fuck up the relationship you have with the Odd Sox.
I wouldn't fuck up that relationship, but I'm a loyal dude. Like these cats fuck with me when I had 0 views.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey man, they take care of me. I make very good money from Odd Sox.
Yeah. And
I do my part. And I fucking, like I said, I'm rocking with them cats forever. So if you see me banging Odd Sox on my story, it's like, bro, because I really genuinely like got love for them fools. LRG came on board because one of my really good homies is the marketing director there. He used to be the marketing director there back in like the LRG heyday. And you know Spencer's like one of my closest homies, right? So like Spencer and my boy Kev used to be at LRG, and Kev's back over there. So once Kev was back over there, I was like, oh shit, hey bro. And he had reached out and I was like, yeah, hey, let's go crazy. LRG's a historical brand. Like, and I want to work with Kevin because that's my dog. So like, yeah, let's go crazy. And they're paying us good money. So yeah, LRG, you get to sponsor the freestyle series.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is if you do a YouTube video, right? Like if you do a series, you know, if you're using YouTube, just figure out how to pimp out the system. I mean that in saying, let's say you're an artist or you do an interview and it's an hour and a half or too long. Upload the full interview. And I took this from Vlad and from like Joe Rogan and like, but I fucking it's like selling dope, right? You might have a pound of weed, but you bust that shit down into zips and eighths and shit. That's what I do with the interview. It might be one interview that's 2 hours long, but if you go on my YouTube channel, that bitch is 14 clips.
Yeah, you got a shit ton of clips.
Bro, that Iman Shumpert interview, if we didn't bust it down like we busted it down,
I don't think it'd be as popping as it is.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
It's about pimping the system. The whole interview got 400, 500,000 views, like the long form version. But between all the clips, that bitch got like fucking 6 million, 5 million.
That's fucking crazy.
So like I clipped it up, and we do that with Boozy. We do that any interview I do. I don't care how big or small it is. I will do the interview, and then I'll also have Cook, our producer and friend who has an interesting sleeping.
Yeah, shouts out to DJ Cook Beats, man. AKA Bane.
Yeah, shout out to Cook. I want to know, is Cook my producer or Tweez DJ first? I'm just trying to figure that out. Like, what's the first thing in the bio? Can we look?
Let's look.
Let's look.
Ooh, that's a great question, actually.
We got to send this to Cook. He's going to be, you fucking guys.
This fucking guy. Oh, producer. The Bootleg Kev Podcast.
Would you look
first.
at that? Round of applause. Burritos on me, Cook.
Good job, Cook.
I'm surprised. Shout out to my guy, Cook.
Yeah, man.
So what we'll do is, and this is what anyone can apply to their
platform.
Stuff. And it just works for me because we are we're everywhere. We're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, we're everywhere. But like our bread and butter is YouTube. So what we do is every interview, the full version is uploaded with a yellow tile. And then all the topics, and you produced the podcast for like 2 months, so you know.
Well, this is for everybody who doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
And this is also why my podcast looks like your podcast now.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I got the templates already to go.
Look, I already know what the fuck to do.
So like if you have let's say you're in Detroit and you're like, man, and by the way, I don't know if there's a Detroit podcast. I hope there is because Detroit's got a great, crazy scene. But let's say you're in Detroit. Detroit's got one of the most fire hip hop scenes in the country. So there's got to be a podcast. I just am ignorant to it. But like, let's say you have Peasy on for 2 hours. You should be able to make 10 clips on top of the full interview on YouTube and maximize your views. And I used to do that. Like I did that before when I was in Phoenix. Like I had like an MGK interview that I busted down like that. But it's really just giving yourself more chances to get views.
So, question. So, the same way you said radio was quote unquote dead, because that time of radio where you can get like super popping and actually make a living off of it is like kind of gone now, right?
Right.
For podcasting, because we see, Bootleg Kev Podcast, No Jumper, like, and just so many podcasts popping up like everywhere. Do you think it's too late to start a podcast?
Nah, honestly, that's what I psyched myself out for years thinking that, bro. I really fucked up because I should have been starting my shit when I originally wanted to. I wanted to do it out of my house. 2018, I shot 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I shot an episode with Adam and I shot an episode with Dre London in my basement. And I psyched myself out thinking that start now. It's not too late. Everyone, the internet has made everything a level playing field. So no, to answer your question, no. Start now. Like, I'll give you an example. Like when I said, so my homie, David Brett Toman, who likes the Blowman, he just started like listening to, he's like somehow, he's the guy who like does all the flipping shit. Like, and so he's the one who got me into flipping shit on OfferUp. And mind you, I've been doing this shit. I've been hustling for my whole life. So I've flipped shit before, but he's like fully into it, right? So he like somehow got hip to like video game soundtracks on vinyl.
Okay.
Like being like a thing.
That's completely random.
Exactly, right? So I'm talking to him and he's like, man, I've been bumping this soundtrack to this video game. This shit is gas. And I'd be like, wait, what? And then he's like, yeah, dude. And then he's like telling me about this podcast he listens to that's literally about video game soundtracks on vinyl. The podcast
the exact shit that he's
so
into.
Ultra niche, but
What
he
the
listens to
fuck?
it. And he's like, man, I was like, damn. He's like, bro, it's the only one. He's like, there's only one. But think about the guy who started that podcast.
Yeah. I mean, he was probably like, I don't know if anybody's interested in this shit, but then, we make this
like,
shit anyway.
imagine like, I try to tell him, David Brett Toman, who likes the Blowman. I try to tell him, hey, bro, you're really passionate about buying and selling shit. Why don't you do a podcast about that shit?
That'd actually be kind of lit, because if you just learn how to flip shit and get like everyday examples of what he does, like,
bro, I'm saying
people would listen to that.
That's what I try to, or he should do a YouTube channel. And there's already a guy named Reezy Resells that's based out here that does it really well. But why not do it? So like my thing is like no, like even if you want to do some rapper shit, like even if you want to do what I do, like there's a niche within a niche. Like whatever city you're in right now, like find the dopest people, the most interesting people in that area, and have interesting conversations.
Yeah.
Like this is the way I look at it is like, dude, if I'm like, let's say I'm in Boise, Idaho still. I'm like, well, shit, man, I'm in Boise. Who the fuck am I going to interview here? I don't know, man. Find some fucking redneck with fucking 7 baby daddies who drives trucks and be like, yo, let's just have a wild ass conversation about lot lizards.
Yeah.
Or like, fucking, dude, who does a good job of that is Theo Vaughn. Theo Vaughn will have a fucking podcast. He lives in Nashville now. So living in Nashville, he's got to kind of pivot when he does his interviews. He just had a random mortician on the air, on his podcast, to talk about being a mortician in Tennessee.
That's fucking random.
And it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. He had a fucking female truck driver on who's been driving trucks for like 25 years. This redneck bitch who drives trucks, just to talk to her about her experiences of and it was fucking hilarious.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I see it. I mean, I think that's the same reason why Joe Rogan brings on just the most random people.
It's about, and this is the thing is like, dude, I'm telling you, there are some really bad podcasts out there. They're terrible. And I'm not saying mine's great. I'm improving mine every day. There's some episodes I love. There's some that I'm like, that was a doozy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I am like, this is a new world to me. I launched my shit in June of 2020. This is not some shit I've been doing for fucking ever, right? Very much so. I've been interviewing people my whole career, and I still have immense things to improve on in that, man. I'm not speaking from a place of like, I'm better than everyone, because I am not. I love watching other people's shit. I admire other people's shit. I'm a fan of other people's shit. Millions of dollars worth of game. I fucking love them. They're my favorite interviews right now. But there are some podcasts that are atrocious.
Yeah.
And like, I would just say to anybody out there, if you say, I want to talk to someone on camera and get people to watch it for a living, take some fucking pride in your job. Take some fucking pride in it. Like, seriously. Like, I'm from Arizona, and in Arizona, there's so many off-brand ass podcasts that are terrible. And so when I see a guy like my dude Malcolm, who's trying to do his Zero Clout podcast, I'm like, yo, hey, let me help you out, bro. You know, or there was like a podcast called the Actual Factual Podcast with my guy Cyrus the Virus, which actually was a pretty good podcast. They stopped doing it. I would try to give Cyrus tips. But there is some shit in these streets that is not it. So if you're getting into this to be the cool guy and for the clout, and you're not getting in it to have interesting conversations, then it probably is too late for you. But if you
shouldn't even start.
If you want to be really original and you want to be intriguing and you want to just, if you notice, when I do interviews, I don't prepare.
Oh, I know that for sure.
Now, mind you, if I have someone on I don't know a lot about.
Yeah, you'll do some research, but then prior to that, like, I know for the most part, if you know them, you already have shit that you've done.
We're just having
stockpiled.
We're just shooting the shit,
Yeah.
and then the music and all that'll come up. But like, if I'm, for example, okay, I'm interviewing Julio Fulio, right? I'm like, okay, let me tap in. I know about Julio Fulio, but I'm like, I'm really not like
super hip.
Yeah, so let me watch some shit. Let me read some shit. Cool. When he comes in, I don't got notes. I'm just like, look, we gonna shoot the shit. I'm gonna try to connect with you just on some like, okay, cool. This is not some got you ass interview. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, we're gonna have a natural, dope conversation. It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be what it is.
Yeah. But I think that's always like the struggle for like podcasters or people who are trying to do interviews, because even I was falling in that where like, you know, you kind of have to get to like the clippy shit, like the wow shit.
No, and this is the thing is like that stuff, if you set the table right, is just gonna come. Now, if you start up an interview
and you ask the wildest shit off the rip,
come on, man.
Yeah,
and the thing is how you ask, and this is the other thing you got to ask yourself, is do you want that person to come back? You know?
I feel that.
If I have a relationship with Boosie, which I do have, I interviewed him multiple times. But if he comes on my show, and while I might have my way of, I feel a certain type of way about how he is with the Lil Nas X thing. Now, by the time he came on my show, that wasn't really a thing yet. But whenever I do plan on talking to Boosie about the homophobic shit, I'm not going to be like, yo, you're a homophobic, bro. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That ruins the relationship altogether.
It's not even that. It's like,
it's also rude.
I'm not going to invite you to my shit to shit on you. Now, if I feel a certain type of way, me and Glasses Malone had a fucking 2-hour conversation about that Lil Nas X shit, in which we had an articulate conversation in which I explained to him why I felt the way I felt about shit he was saying, and he explained to me why he felt the way he felt about it. But it was an articulate conversation. And so if you're like at home and you're like, yeah, I really want to do this shit, man, really take it serious. Do it for the right reasons. It's not too late for you to do it. It's not, you know, find your niche and go crazy. You know what I mean? Like, start a platform on IG. Like, if you're, whatever city you're in, every city needs their own version of Say Cheese or their own version of
That's
academics. True. Start an IG page that shows, you know, I got some homies from Tampa. They run this QC page. And QC were promoters from Tampa when I was there. And I'm not sure the person who's running the QC page, but it's kind of like the Tampa area academics. It's all about Tampa artists, and they get great followers, and they're dope.
That's pretty lit.
So like if you're in Missoula, Montana, yo, start up an IG page, shedding a light on Missoula and the hip hop scene, and turn that into a podcast, and figure out a way to monetize that. Maybe there's a local concert venue in Missoula, which there is.
I'm sure there is.
Hey, for $300 a month, you can sponsor my podcast. I mean, I'm not saying that's a lot of money,
but it is something to really like get you started.
Yeah, like, hey, look, I mean, at the end of the day, like, these are all things that, like, and that's just if you want to get in the hip hop space. If you want to go super niche video game soundtrack vinyl on these hoes, go ahead. I mean, make a fucking podcast about Crocs, bro.
That's true.
Is there a Croc podcast?
I mean, I'm sure there is somewhere.
Got my first pair of Crocs thanks to this month.
Yeah, and he was fucking getting on me so hard about getting these damn Crocs, but the Crocs are fire.
You're about to see. I'm about to go crazy with the Crocs. I was slipping all these years, and Nico finally convinced me.
Hey, if you do end up getting like a Croc sponsorship, let me know. LaRussell wears Crocs.
I know. No, but I mean, like, is somebody who's passionate about, like, who's got the ill Croc game, dude? Because Crocs, there's like people. I hope there's someone in that community that starts a podcast about Crocs.
Yeah, that would be lit. But I guess, the moral of the story is find a niche.
And just do it the right way. Be very passionate and just try. And, like, the cream will rise to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Facts. Well, Kev, what's I mean, I already know what's coming up for, like, the syndicated show, but for you personally, I mean, I know you're managing Alexis and, like, what's next, bro?
Yeah, man. We're trying to get more radio stations to run the Bootleg Kev show. We're on in 9 markets at the moment. We want to get 10, which we're working on right now. We want to hit 20 by the end of the year, maybe 30. We're trying to go crazy. The podcast, this year, I'm trying to make $1 million off of my podcast. So that's my goal. I want to become in general, this year, I want to make $1 million.
Nice.
I had a good year last year, but I want to be able to be like, damn, 2022, I made $1 million.
Yeah.
Like, so this.
And independently.
Yeah. So this year, personally, I want to have $1 million run through my bank account this year. I want to, obviously, I have my record label. I manage Alexis. He signed to me. Ready, Set, the label. I manage Tony Chalk, who is one of the most fire producers alive. So at the moment, those 2 guys are who I'm really focused on in terms of the music shit that I do. I also have an artist named Ilio, who's probably somewhere in Chicago tripping on shrooms right now. So,
Ilio's so good, by the way.
No, for sure. And then another artist named Angel Hill, who's just wasting his potential right now serving steaks at Outback. I hope he watches this and says, God damn it, Kev, fuck you.
Shouts out to Angel.
Oh, he's an alien.
Nice guy.
But at the moment, Alexis and Tony Chalk are the focus on the management side. I work at Empire. I help run Ghazi's channel above all. I produce original content for them. We have a show called Tapped In that's going to ramp up big time in 2022. The other thing you're going to start to notice is I'm going to start doing podcasts in San Francisco.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's going to kick in real soon where I'm going to be, Ghazi's building me out a whole studio in the Bay.
Oh, that's fucking lit.
Yeah, so that's an exclusive.
Kev's going to tap in with all the Bay artists now.
Yeah,
I mean, not that he's not already, but
listen,
you feel me?
Listen, everyone in my fucking life is from the Bay. All right?
Say it again.
I can't avoid you motherfuckers.
Nico Blitz from the Bay.
Swinging on Steph Curry's cock.
Cook Beats from the Bay.
Jesus Christ.
Alexis, also from the Bay.
San Jose. Yeah.
San Jose, California.
Yeah, so you'll notice this year, there will be a lot of content shot in San Francisco as well as LA. So you'll see me doing podcasts from my studio at Empire in the Bay. You'll see me doing podcasts from my studio in LA. So that is something new.
Well, Cook, looks like you're going to have to move back to the Bay.
No. No, I'm still going to be living in LA. I'm just going to fly to the Bay once a week and do an episode out there.
That's lit.
So I do that. We got a show called Tapped In that I'm looking forward to really growing into something special on the Above All channel that Empire and Ghazi are behind. We do Corner Store Brunch. We're going to be doing a lot of dope shit on Hood Clips channel, which I'm going to kind of like help kind of man some of the original content for that IG page.
Is Hood Clips also under Empire? Yeah.
Yeah, and then, you know, there's some other shit that's dope that's being talked about where I'm gonna probably end up doing a collaborative show with some other big people in my space on their channel.
Mm-hmm.
You may or may not have seen me on someone's channel recently.
Yeah.
So you might see me on that channel once a week in the near future.
Whatever happened to the show with you and Freddie?
Freddie Gibbs happened to it.
Ah,
You know, when Freddie wants to do a podcast, we got it all. We already done figured it out.
there we go.
He's working on a classic album right now.
Okay.
So it'll happen.
Shouts out to Alfredo, by the
Listen,
way.
if Fred ever does a podcast, I'm doing it with him. This is already something that's fully been talked about and understood. So I hope it happens one day. But the thing is when you're like one of the greatest rappers alive and you're like at the peak of your career, like right now, Fred is like prime. This motherfucker just got nominated for a Grammy.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, bro, don't do a podcast right now.
Just do the podcast after.
Finish Triple S. Also, I'm gonna be stepping into, you know, I do shit in the weed industry a lot. I do a lot of stuff in the weed game. I have a recording studio in North Hollywood called Ready Set Studios. Follow them. Ready Set _studios. You could book studio time while you're in the city. That was my engineer who runs my studio for me. We got some shroom shit we cooking up.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait for that, by the way.
We got a clothing line called Tops. That's all you need to know. Technically, we have a clothing line.
Okay, shouts out to the clothing line.
Shout out to
I'm
the
with it.
clothing line.
Yeah.
And then it's not Fresh Brothers. I'm thinking of the pizza place. Me and Spencer are launching a company called Fortune Brothers.
Fortune Brothers, which would be...
Drugs, fool.
Oh, okay.
Weed. We're going to be in all the fucking dispensaries in LA.
All right. Well, Bootleg Kev, everybody.
Lots of shit going on.
Yeah.
I got to finish my fucking burrito, Nico.
Yeah, it's been 2 hours since you bought that shit, bro.
I know. Has it been that long?
2 hours. 2 fucking hours. Thank you, Bootleg Kev, for hopping on the podcast for 2
Is this
hours.
episode number 10?
Episode number 10.
I'm the first person on this podcast who has a penis so far.
Third.
Who's next? What lovely young lady who sings?
Actually, by
R&B
this
is
time, you
next.
would be the fourth.
Who's next?
I don't know who next is. We're
don't
going
know.
to figure it out.
Who do you want on the podcast
We're going to have James Andre Jefferson Jr.,
for episode 20?
episode 20. Anyone else, rapper-wise? I don't know. We're done. Bootleg Kev, Nico Blitz Podcast, everybody.